What up, my people, and welcome back to another episode of Loud AF. I'm your host, Chad Ricardo, and of course we got with me my homegirl, the best in charge, the biggest, what do we even call you nowadays? Like a superstar? You on the red carpet and everything else?
I'll take superstar. That works for me. I'll take superstar. That works.
Sylvia Mpofe is in the building right now. Good morning, Sil.
Good morning. How are you?
Coming up today, we got a huge show for you. We are going to run my entire sit down with the GOAT himself, ESPN's Adam Schefter. That's going to be coming up in a moment. We're also going to hear from one of the biggest rising stars in the DMV, that is Terry Goofyyys Jones. We're talking about an entertainer, an entrepreneur, an actor, all of the above. He's going to be joining us live right here in studio. But first, Sil, we got to get to some bossy or saucy. What do you got for us?
Okay, I'm sure everyone already saw this news, but Isiah Thomas, NBA legend, if you will, here.
GOAT in his own regard.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Caught some fire after blasting a current GOAT, LeBron James, for, I guess, his attire coming to a game to warm up. Now, LeBron was seen on the court shooting around without a top on, so shirtless.
Without a top, okay. Men call that just without a shirt.
Without a shirt, shirtless.
Okay. All right.
Shirtless.
All right.
Okay, that's appropriate.
Yes.
Okay, and he had on a do-rag. Now, Isiah Thomas basically saying this is unprofessional.
Sure.
You know, if I was the captain, or if I was on the team, if I was the coach on the team, I would not allow this to happen. He's basically saying that he feels as though the professionalism has decreased within the NBA, and this is not, he said, this is not LA Fitness. This is not, you know, this is not a shoot around. This is just not pickup happening. You know, and I just think that this was very saucy of him.
Well, come on and speak on it, Sil. I mean, just don't pass the ball. Go ahead and shoot.
Yeah, I'm going to take it all here because Isiah Thomas, as we all know, if you don't know, I'm going to fill you in, has a very checkered past, okay? You know, I watched The Last Dance, okay? You might be shocked that I did. But he has told us how, you know, he was physically checking people, putting feet behind somebody. He also has allegations of sexual assault as well, where there was a hefty settlement that occurred there. Keep in mind that LeBron shooting around, there were no fans in the stadium at this time.
That's right.
So this is not really a warm-up.
It wasn't the actual pregame.
Yes,
it was
it's not
like
really a warm-up.
Shoot-around.
Exactly. It's really LeBron doing his thing that he's been doing for a long time, stepping out there, getting some shots up, you know. To say this, I just feel like is sometimes a mark that you cannot take back.
Wow.
And now it's, you know, you're kind of putting a taint on LeBron and his legacy and what he has going for himself, because the man decided to come and get some shots up before anybody else, and he just didn't have a shirt on and a do-rag. I think it was very, it was interesting. Saucy. Yeah, and coming from him, I don't think that was appropriate at all.
I got you. You go saucy, and again, we'll double down on Isiah's legacy. Also, one of the lasting memories of him is himself as a captain and the Detroit Pistons walking off of the court without shaking hands with Michael Jordan when the Chicago Bulls unseated them. So there are some things that question where Isiah Thomas's basketball character was. I agree with you. Okay? This is such an up and down thing for me, because I do agree with you. And to be clear, go watch it. There's no one in the stands at the time when LeBron is shooting without a shirt, in sweatpants, and with a do-rag on. The one thing I will say, Sil, for everybody out there, you and I, we've had this conversation here in the Fox 5 building. We are a building. There are multiple companies that are in this building. There's a gym here. I used to work out in the gym here at Fox 5. And I've shared with you that I stopped coming in early to work out in the gym here at Fox 5 because when I come in to work out, I'm in sweatpants. My hair is all over my head. I don't look or present the way that I'm presenting now. So I never want for people to see Chad Ricardo in public and not to see Chad Ricardo. So from that perspective, as a representative of Fox 5, I understood where Isiah was coming from that perspective.
I mean, I understand the whole professionalism thing. Unfortunately, within the black community in general, there's usually a double standard of how we always have to show up. Never let people see you with your hair to the side, your hair a little frizzy. You always have to be perfect and looking the greatest. I just hate that for us, and I hate that it had to be another black man pointing this out on a large scale. I mean, if Isiah Thomas really felt this way, if he felt so convicted about it, if he felt like LeBron was really harming his legacy and what the Lakers stand for, shoot him a text, reach out to him, talk to this man, and, you know, add some type of veteran-like advice to him versus getting on his platform and blasting him in the way that he did. I'm still saucy.
As a man, I know when I can't score any more points, so I think that we should just move on. You got that one. I'll let you take that one with the saucy. What do we got?
All right, the next one, Ja Morant, NBA player here, is causing some fire with his recent celebration that he decides to do on the court.
In my brain, I thought about doing, but then I was like,
maybe not, because he's already under fire for that.
I don't want to be under fire.
Okay, so we do know about Ja Morant's prior history of having that court case that he went through that involved potential gun charges in that situation. And initially, Ja had came back onto the court and kind of had trigger fingers as a way to celebrate a shot, a bucket.
More than trigger fingers, he was faking posing with a long gun.
Okay,
which is a little more intimidating than just trigger
worse.
Fingers.
Regardless, he was fined. The NBA fined him. I guess his rebuttal or his adjustment now was to now have a grenade, and he throws it into the crowd. And I just have to say that this is saucy all around because, in my personal opinion, I don't know why violence is being glorified in a way of celebration. Whatever happened to the threes to the head, you know what I mean? We're talking about pews, and I feel like the only pews that we should be seeing is in the Lord and Savior's home. Are you in the first pew, the second pew, the third pew, or the pew in the back?
Sure.
That's all I want to see when it comes to that. There are kids that are in the audience. Now you're throwing grenades. This translates,
That's right.
I remember being young and, the three to the head, and kids are doing this in their games, Now kids are going to be throwing grenades out in the crowd, Not to say that they signed up to be role models, but I just do not think that we should be glorifying violence.
Wow.
There are real repercussions for that. People go to jail for shooting. People go to jail for gun violence in general. I mean, unless you were a commander or on the battlefield, what are you doing with a grenade?
No, I get it. I tell you
Why can't he blow some kisses?
It's absolutely your glow up because you have come and brought every ounce of your information today.
Okay.
Shout out to you for being prepared.
Okay, thank you. I try.
I'm going to say this again, just like with the first one. I think that this is a layered conversation because the truth is, and what Ja Morant's camp will say is, I'm not the only one doing posing with guns. There are people who are doing this in every sport at every level, week in and week out. What I would say to Ja, though, now that I'm an OG, now that I'm an uncle out here, I'm in my 40s out here, what I would say to Ja, the same message that I would say to every young person out there, is that your history matters.
Yeah.
Who you are, where you come from, what your relevance in life, what it's been matters. And that's whether it's fair, whether, fair, I don't believe in that word. You know that.
Like that.
Whether it's fair or not, it matters. So when you're Ja and you've had these issues with guns before,
it's just not smart.
And it's been public, it's been publicized, that means that you can't be the one out here doing a gun celebration. You can be prepared for the consequences when it comes to I will give him credit, and we'll get out of here on this. I will give him credit because I do think that it's cute that he said, all right, you're going to find me for gun. I'll turn this into a grenade. I will turn this into you ain't going to stop me from celebrating. I'm going to celebrate one way or the other. I'll turn it into a grenade. You got the last word.
I will say that you made a great point saying that other athletes do it too. And my point to close this out is no one should be doing it. It should be shut down across the board. The gratification or the praising of violence in this type of way, shut it down across the board.
That's right.
Start throwing up prayer hands when you do something amazing. Throw up some kisses, blow some
Hallelujah.
kisses, put some hearts. I don't know.
Hallelujah out here.
Do a point and then a wink. There's so many options that are here.
That's what I'm talking about.
Let's just not do this across the board in general.
We'll end all that.
End it.
All right. Well, I tell you what, we had 2 rounds there, and I think that you went 2-0 against me right here. So you were on the game. You're on your game today.
That's a good record to have.
Well, you know what? Somebody who might be interested in hearing more from you after this performance is ESPN's Adam Schefter. He might call you and talk to you about all of your sports knowledge. Maybe?
We'll see.
Okay. Well, I had a chance to talk to Adam Schefter about the Washington Commanders earlier this week. Let's take a look back at my sit-down with the GOAT himself. Sorry about that. There we go. Ooh,
Hall of Fame left tackle, protecting your blind side. That's just a huge addition. I mean, look, they have a window here with Jaden Daniels on his rookie contract that they can go out and trade for a player who makes about $20 million a year in Deebo Samuel. They can go out and get a pricey left tackle and Laramie Tunsil. They can do these things, make a couple of extra moves, more than, say, the Dallas Cowboys or Philadelphia Eagles can, because those quarterbacks on those teams are not on rookie contracts. They're making $55, $60 million a year. Jaden Daniels on a rookie deal. There's extra money around. You can go funnel that into the roster. It's exactly what Washington is doing right now.
And that is what it is that we've seen, again, from their additions, not only the two individuals that we're speaking about now, but also Marshawn Lattimore, adding him last season as well, those quality veterans. Flipping the page from those quality vets to this draft, again, it's coming up in just a couple of weeks. The Washington Commanders have grown accustomed to picking at the top of the draft. This year, they'll be back in the 20s or so it should be. What have you heard in regards to how the Washington Commanders may go about attacking this year's draft?
Well, Chad, I think that they couldn't be any happier to be in the 20s. The only way that they'd be happier is if they were 32. But they're not 32. That's for another year. And right now they're in a position where the good part about this draft, when you speak to front office members, general managers across the league, is they said the player that you get at 10 is not all that different from the player that you would get at 32 at the back end of the first round. So where Washington is, they're going to have the opportunity to sit back there and just see who slides to them. There's any number of ways that the Commanders can go with this pick. My guess is it'll be a pick in the trenches, maybe another offensive lineman, maybe another cornerback. There's a few different ways they could go, but it'll be dictated to them more by the players that go in front of them than them trying to fill a specific need.
And we saw Adam Peters and Dan Quinn, that whole draft room, do much of the same of that last year. It was a good, impressive first draft. They'll look to double down on that here in year number 2. Adam, for all Washington Commanders fans, one of the things that they know is that as impressive of a season as the Commanders had last year, going 12-5, making it all the way to that NFC Championship game, that ultimately they still got the Eagles in that same NFC East. Looking at what this Commanders team has been able to do through free agency, what they've done via the trade, do you believe that the Commanders have closed the gap on the Eagles at all?
Yeah, I think they have. Again, when you have that ability to go out and spend some of that money that other teams can't spend, and you can add Deebo Samuel and you can add Laramie Tunsil, that should bring you closer to the competition. And they weren't that far away to begin with. And the bigger jump may come just from seeing Jaden Daniels go from year 1 to year 2. There are a lot of people around the league who always believe a player's most notable jump occurs from his first year to his second year. And if that happens to be the case with Jaden Daniels, we can only imagine what we might see out of him when last year he might have been a top 5 quarterback in all of football. So if his game goes another level, whoa, that would be something that would really give Washington a chance to make a major run in the postseason and give the Commanders a chance to overtake the Eagles.
100%, and that would make many fans here in the DMV area very, very happy. Now, I got to ask you this. Beyond football, another one of your passions is health, and more specifically, screening and awareness for type 1 diabetes. I know that this is important to you. Why incentivize screen for type 1? How did this become something important in your life?
Well, Chad, my wife, Shari, is a type 1 diabetic, and so I watch what she deals with on a daily basis, and that's why it's important for me to go out and encourage people to meet with their doctors, talk to their doctors about type 1 diabetes, ask them about screening in advance, because by screening in advance, you're getting ahead of the game. I make my living off information and knowledge. And I'm trying to encourage people to do the same thing, having watched my wife. An unexpected type 1 diabetes diagnosis can have serious impacts. So if you have more time to prepare to make a difference, that's a huge deal. And that's why screening is so important for type 1 diabetes. Screening gives you the valuable time to prepare. And yes, I've been engaged by Sanofi to deliver this message, but I know that it's the right thing to screen in advance, and it's why we're trying to encourage people to visit screen4type1.com to learn more. That's visit screen4type1.com to learn more.
Absolutely love it. And Schefter, I will get you out of here on this. Again, we want to thank you for spending all of your time with us here today. For all of the people here in the DMV, can we get you to put your left hand up and give us a raise hell, Adam Schefter? Can we get a raise hell from Adam Schefter before you get out of here?
What am I raising? What am I raising?
I don't know.
What am I missing out? What's the joke?
We're just raising hell. That's what we do around here.
Chad, you do it well. I think you do it well, not raise hell. I like to think of it in more polite diplomatic terms.
I got you, brother. Adam Schefter, senior NFL insider, thank you so very much for taking a moment here with us at Fox 5.
Thank you for your time today, Chad. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
That's my main man, Adam Schefter of ESPN, talking about the Washington Commanders, talking about Jaden Daniels, talking about the additions of Deebo Samuel, Laramie Tunsil. Again, I think to double down, the biggest thing for all Commanders fans out there is that Adam Schefter believes that this Washington football franchise has at least narrowed that gap on the Philadelphia Eagles. We go from traditional NFL football to talking about spring football right now, that of course being the UFL Weekly here. We're going to have a conversation with the DC Defenders head coach, Shannon Harris. He joined me earlier this week. Let's take a listen to that.
All right, my people, let's get loud AF for your undefeated DC Defenders. Now, interim head coach Shannon Harris, he has these young men rolling as they've opened the season with home victories over both the Birmingham Stallions and the Memphis Showboats. The Defenders are going to be stepping up in class this week, though, as they take on the equally 2-0 St. Louis Battlehawks. I spoke with head coach Shannon Harris earlier this week, and I asked him, Coach, what's it going to take for the DC Defenders to take down the Loop?
The biggest thing is, we just got to make sure we're sound in what we're doing. Be disciplined, eliminate penalties, no pre-snap penalties and things like that. Keep us in from an offensive standpoint, keep us in short yardage situation and score touchdowns in the red zone.
Battlehawks, not only a quality team, they also have a rabid fan base and will undoubtedly be the Defenders' biggest challenge to date. It all goes down on Sunday at the Dome at the Americas Center. Kickoff, 2 p.m.
That's a look at the DC Defenders. That game is getting ready to go down. But I tell you what else is getting ready to go down. We're about to bring on one of the most talented young men, not only here in the DMV, but truly in the entire nation. My homeboy, I've been waiting to speak to him for a very long time. He is right here in studio. Let me stop talking, though, and give you a little bit of a taste of what my man is bringing to the stage. Check it out.
Okay, we lost. Commanders! That's still my squad. Yeah, we lost by 55. So what? That's still my squad. And guess what? Guess what I got out of it? Will Smith just posted me. They coming to pick up the Eagles. They out of here. Now here's the story all about how my team can flip the town upside down.
Honey, come ride. KNY, all up in my eyes.
Yeah, I'm from the DMV and Will Smith just posted me. Who else from anywhere got Martin Lawrence and Will Smith to post us in the same damn year? Yeah, a win is a win. I'm a bad boy now. Yeah. I don't care. My squad is my squad. I love y'all. Who cares?
In the building.
I I'm 43 years old, Goofy, so I just say stuff like that coming from the heart here. But this is a sports show, so first, before we get into all of your talent, how did you become a Commanders fan? What's your origin story there?
I was born and raised in this. You know what I'm saying? I'm from the area, so that was the first team I remember. Yeah. That was the first team I remember. Well, the Washington Redskins that became the Commanders. But that's everything. You know, everybody going to the games, even when we was losing. Wow. We diehards. Yeah, for sure.
What is as a diehard, lifelong fan? What's your most memorable moment? Because again, JD5, this team created so much last year. It was a magical season. Yeah. But what's your most magical moment?
I was at the Bears game. I was at the Bears game. Yeah, I was at the Bears game. The stadium, it was pandemonium. Kids was crying. Grown men was ripping their shirt off.
Men were crying.
It was crazy. That was like the craziest thing I ever seen at any event. So it was crazy. And it was, that was it.
I think that for me, and I think that for so many other people, we talk about huge moments in sports and in life, and there are those moments that you can look back and say, I remember exactly where I was, exactly what I was feeling in that moment.
For sure. Yeah. I remember, I think that's the first time that they did the blackout in the stadium. Yeah, so everybody was confused,
right.
But it was lit, and then that happened. I think I wanted to cry a little bit myself. I ain't gonna lie. I was so excited. I lapped the stadium about 3 times that day.
Yeah, no doubt. Huge major offseason. Of course, again, we look at this team, 12 wins last year. AP, DQ not resting on their laurels. You bring in a Debo. You bring in a Laramie Tunsil. We were just talking to Adam Schefter about that. Your early thoughts on the draft still coming.
Yeah, draft still coming.
Draft still ain't even happening. Your early thoughts on the offseason.
I think we making very smart moves. We making a veteran team with a rookie. You know what I'm saying? With a rookie who feels like a veteran. So I think we doing something crazy. And like you said, draft ain't even come yet. We don't even know what we about to get. How we about to mix it up. So I feel like I already felt like we was up out of there. We just had a couple little mistakes, but I think we gone.
We on the way.
I think
we on the way. We got more skits for the Eagles and Will Smith coming for you.
Yeah, we coming back.
We coming, Will. We Big Willie Styles on Willie. Okay, all right. That's kind of enough about the Commanders. I want to talk about you. All right.
Yes, sir.
Now, the first time that you hit my radar some years ago, it wasn't even for your comedy. I saw you because you were a skit man who was going to do celebrity boxing.
Yeah.
And I was like, this dude, my man is out here boxing. Talk to me about that.
So I grew up boxing. That was that was the thing that kind of changed my mindset on how I look, the peaceful thing and all of that type of stuff. So boxing has always been in my life. But when they started doing the celebrity influencer type of boxing, I was like, hey, call me. Call me. And then, I had fun. I had fun.
I think you won that fight.
Oh, I won. I won. Yeah, I won for sure.
That's what's up.
Yeah, it was fun though. It was fun. I want to do it again.
Hey, the influencer, the skit bit, how'd you get into that? Did you find it or did it find you?
It kind of found me. How like everybody gets on the new social media, whatever that is, TikTok, Vine. Mine was Vine. When Vine came out, that was 6 seconds. You had to make people laugh in 6 seconds, and that was me. But I always been into comedy. I always been into at least stand up or the sketch style comedy, Dave Chappelle show, Living Color, stuff like that. So, yeah.
What's your process when you see something? Because again, some of the stuff, especially on the Commanders, like this is not something that you're taking a month to develop. Game happens, and next thing you know, you making a viral moment out there.
Yeah. It's just my perspective. You know what I'm saying? My perspective, my energy, my hypeness. I just put it all into the video. So most times I'm just taking my moment, and I'm like, I'm gonna put all this energy into how I feel right now, because I know a million more people feel exactly how I feel. So that's it right there. Yeah.
So you're not only performing, you're also writing?
Absolutely.
You're writing it. You're to an extent you're directing it.
Yeah, I got to do everything. Sometimes I'm behind the camera and in front of the camera. Yeah, like if it's a moment, like I'm gonna give y'all an insider on that Eagles game. I was kind of upset, so I drove home. I drove home and made the video because I drove up there. I made the video in front of FedEx Field. I was like, I have to get this energy out because I know everybody's feeling how I'm feeling. But we were still proud. We were still proud, but it was just like we a little hurt. So just gotta get that energy off in the moment.
When I'm interviewing athletes, right, I oftentimes ask them,
what was that moment that you knew that you were special? That you were more than just somebody that was out here playing ball with everybody else running around here, but you knew that as soon as somebody saw you, they were going to know how special you were. I feel as though you're that level of entertainer, and obviously I know within the last year, Martin, Will Smith, millions of people watching your videos. When did you know you were special?
To be honest, my mom always made sure I knew I was special.
Now,
you
brother.
know, my mom always made sure I knew. So, you know, there'd be times I second guess myself, but I always thought, you know, I was pretty good at what I do. And if I put my all into it, I'm gonna be, you know, I'm gonna be great. So my mom, shout out to mom.
Shout out to mom. Shout out to that love back at home. And it's not only skits for you. It's obviously not just boxing. But you getting into movies now as well.
Yeah, movies, stand up, everything. We do everything. But the movies, I love the movies because it's something new for me. You know, you have to learn acting. I can be me.
That's
you
right.
know,
That's
being
right.
funny is being me. But learning acting, that's a new field, and I love a challenge. You know, and I wanna get into that Will Smith, Jamie Foxx, Martin, Eddie Murphy bag. You know, so you know, I love that. It's something that I'm taking on full steam ahead. Yeah.
And I want to make sure that we get everything on the table here because you just mentioned it. Stand-up special on the way.
Absolutely.
Come on.
Absolutely. So a lot of people, because I started off on social media, don't understand that I'm even capable of this stage. But I'm letting y'all know, I'm looking right at y'all. That stage is way different than these skits. And I'm one of them. I'm one of them. I'm JD5 on stage.
You looking right into that camera right there.
Yeah. So, you know, I want people to understand that. So I'm going to do a stand-up special and, you know, pitch it everywhere it needs to be put so that people older than me, younger than me can all understand that I'm just not a social media comedian. I'm an all-around entertainer.
When is that dropping?
I want to shoot it.
Or is it solidified yet?
Yeah, I want to shoot it in August around my birthday. You know, so when once we pitch it, you know, that's the TV stuff. You know, that's the entertainment stuff.
So you're gonna do it yourself, and then because we see people doing this,
absolutely,
nowadays,
that's the new wave now.
They shoot it and then they go and pitch it.
Yeah, that's the new wave.
Wow.
Yeah. I think that's the smarter way too, because you have more creative control over things like that, and no, you know, shot to anybody who went to somebody else to shoot their thing. That's great too. You don't got to spend no money, you know. But I want to have creative control. I want to show people how I feel and you know my perspective. So. Yeah.
You spoke to this a moment ago. There's a lot of people out here who are watching right there. They're like, man, Goofyy's, you know what I'm saying, 60 seconds, 90 seconds, do that skit, hit them up there. And it's especially, right, it's the old heads who are like, bro, this skit comedy, it's not the same thing as being a comedian. What do you say to them, and how do you prove them wrong?
No, they're right. They're absolutely right. But here it's two sides of that because they can't come do what I do.
My man.
You feel what I'm saying? So and the problem is that I can do what they do. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, you know, we on both sides of it. And they right though. You know, sketch comedy is way different. I get to pause, stop, restart, and all that. But I went over there into their backyard and figured out how to play, you know, their game. So,
100%. 100%. All right. Before we get out of here, tell everybody out there, because I mean, you got damn near 275, 80,000 followers on the gram. I don't even know what you're doing on TikTok, but for anybody who does not know Terry Goofyy's Jones, where can they find your content and how they tap into you?
Listen, follow me at Goofyyys. That's GOOFYSSSS. That's 4 S's.
4 S's.
Yeah, 4
See,
S's.
I had it wrong. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's on every single platform. Listen, follow me. On Facebook, it's actually Terry Jones, you know, because on stage, you got to go by the professional name. And I'm cool with that. You know, I'm getting older now. So Terry Jones, Goofyyys, come follow me. Come enjoy. Come to a real live personal show. Enjoy yourself, man.
Enjoy yourself. Yeah. And I've enjoyed this interview. Been waiting to sit down with you for a long time.
Man, I appreciate you, my guy. Yes, sir.
And thank you all for checking out
Scamanders!
Loud AM.